In the kingdom of Yukara, nestled between vast forests and rolling hills, there was a secret known only to a few, an ancient curse tied to the royal family. For generations, the kingdom had thrived under the rule of King Adewale and Queen Morenike, but their happiness was marred by a burden they could not escape. Their son, Prince Olumide, was born under a dark omen, one that would haunt him for the rest of his life. From the day of his birth, strange occurrences had followed Olumide. As a child, he often wandered into the thick forests surrounding the palace, drawn by whispers only he could hear. At night, the spirits of the ancestors appeared in his dreams, warning him of an unknown deity. The king and queen tried to shield him from the truth, fearing the day he would discover the full extent of his curse. But as Olumide grew into a young man, his restless spirit led him to question his place in the kingdom. He was a skilled warrior, respected by the people, yet there was always something pulling him away from the throne, something he couldn't quite explain. One evening, after a long day of hunting, Prince Olumide stood on the balcony of the palace, gazing at the forest in the distance. His father, King Adewale, approached him, filled with concern. "Olumide," the king began, "there is something you must know. It is time you learned the truth about your birth." Olumide turned to his father, his heart pounding in his chest. He had sensed this moment was coming, but the gravity of it all shook him. "The spirits," King Adewale continued, "have a claim on you. Your mother and I made a pact with a powerful native doctor, Baba Ogundele, when you were born. He saved your life, but at a grave cost." Olumide's mind raced as his father spoke. Baba Ogundele was a name that stirred fear and respect across Yukara, a reclusive witch doctor who wielded immense power. What could his parents have bargained for with such a man? "The day you were born," the king explained, "you were not breathing. The palace healers could do nothing to save you. In desperation, we sought out Baba Ogundele, and he brought you back. But he warned us that one day you would have to face the spirits that saved you. They will come for you." Olumide's hands clenched into fists. "And you kept this from me? My whole life has been a lie." Queen Morenike joined them, tears in her eyes. "We only wanted to protect you, Olumide. We thought we could find a way to break the curse before it took hold of you." But Olumide's anger boiled over. "You thought wrong." Without another word, Olumide stormed out of the palace. He rode into the night, the whispers of the spirits growing louder in his ears as he neared the forest. His destiny awaited him, and he could no longer deny it. For days, Olumide wandered the dense, ominous forest in search of Baba Ogundele. The deeper he ventured, the more the world around him seemed to warp. Shadows moved of their own accord, and strange sounds echoed in the distance. The spirits were watching him, guiding him towards the witch doctor. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Olumide came upon a clearing where an ancient, dilapidated hut stood. The air around it was thick with the scent of herbs and smoke, and a heavy silence hung over the place. Olumide dismounted his horse and approached cautiously. As he reached the door, it creaked open on its own, revealing the dimly lit interior. Inside, sitting cross-legged by the fire, was Baba Ogundele. His eyes gleamed in the firelight as he regarded Olumide with an expression of knowing amusement. "I have been expecting you, Prince Olumide," the witch doctor said in a voice that was rough as gravel. Olumide's heart raced as he stepped inside. "You know why I'm here?" Baba Ogundele nodded, stirring a pot over the fire. "The spirits have called to you, haven't they? You've heard their whispers all your life, but now they are growing louder. It is time for you to face them." Olumide clenched his jaw. "What do you want from me?" The witch doctor looked up, his eyes piercing. "They want what was promised to them. Your life. The pact your parents made saved you, but it bound you to the spirits, and you cannot escape them." A chill ran down Olumide's spine. "There must be another way." Baba Ogundele chuckled darkly. "There is always another way, but that also comes at a price." Olumide swallowed hard. "What is the price?" "Your loyalty to the spirits. That is the price. You must give yourself fully to them. In return, they will grant you power beyond imagination. You will be unstoppable, feared by all." Olumide's mind raced. The offer was tempting. Unlimited power, freedom from the curse that had haunted him since birth, but at what cost? His soul? His humanity? "I need some time to think," Olumide said, stepping back towards the door. Baba Ogundele's eyes narrowed. "Time is not on your side, dear prince. The spirits grow impatient." Without another word, Olumide left the hut, his thoughts a whirlwind of confusion and fear. He had come seeking answers, but now he was faced with an impossible choice, one that could change the course of his life forever. As Olumide made his way back to the palace, he couldn't shake the feeling that something more sinister was at play. The spirits had always been a part of his life, but now it seemed as though they were closing in on him, tightening their grip with each passing day. When he arrived at the palace, his parents were waiting for him, their faces filled with worry. "What did Baba Ogundele tell you?" Queen Morenike asked, her voice trembling. Olumide hesitated before answering. "He said the spirits want me, that they've been wanting me all my life, waiting patiently for me." The queen's eyes filled with tears. "It is true. The day you were born, we made a deal with Baba Ogundele, but there's something else we never told you." Olumide's heart pounded in his chest. "What is it?" King Adewale took a deep breath. "Baba Ogundele, he is your father." The world seemed to spin around Olumide as the word sank in. His mind reeled, trying to make sense of it all. Baba Ogundele, the witch doctor, the man who had cursed him, was his father? "No!" Olumide whispered, shaking his head in disbelief. "That's not possible." Queen Morenike sobbed, her hands trembling as she reached out to him. "We kept it from you to protect you. Your birth was the result of a forbidden union, one that the spirits themselves ordained. Baba Ogundele agreed to save you, but in doing so, he bound you to the spirits forever." Olumide's vision blurred with rage and betrayal. His entire life had been a lie. His parents, the people he had trusted the most, had hidden the truth from him, and now he was paying the price. "You should have told me," Olumide growled, his voice filled with venom. "You should have let me choose my own fate." King Adewale's face crumpled with guilt. "We didn't know what else to do. We were desperate." Olumide couldn't bear to look at them any longer. Without another word, he turned and left the palace once again, determined to confront Baba Ogundele and demand answers. Realizing that he could not outrun the spirits, Olumide knew he had only one choice left: to confront his father, Baba Ogundele, once more and end the curse that bound him to the spirits. He returned to the depths of the forest, his mind heavy with the weight of his fate. The journey back to Baba Ogundele's hut felt different this time. The trees seemed to lean closer, their branches reaching for him like skeletal hands, while the wind carried whispers of the spirits that haunted him. Every step he took felt like a march towards his doom, and yet Olumide was resolute. If he was to face his destiny, it would be on his terms. When he arrived at the witch doctor's hut, the air crackled with a strange energy. The door creaked open before he could knock, and there, sitting by the fire as before, was Baba Ogundele, his father, his face hidden in shadows. "I knew you would return, Olumide," Baba Ogundele said, his voice carrying an edge of expectation. The spirits have called, and you cannot resist them forever. Olumide's jaw tightened, his eyes burning with determination. I'm not here to bow to the spirits, or to you. I've come to end this, once and for all. The witch doctor chuckled, his laughter low and menacing. You think you can end what has been set in motion since the day of your birth? The spirits are not so easily defied, my son. I am not your son. I am the prince of Yukara, and I will not be a pawn in your games. Baba Ogundele's eyes gleamed with a mixture of amusement and challenge. Very well, then. If you seek to break the curse, you must be prepared to face the consequences. With a flick of his hand, Baba Ogundele summoned the spirits. The air around them grew cold, and a thick fog rolled into the hut, obscuring the walls and floor. From the shadows, figures began to emerge, twisted ethereal forms with glowing lights, their voices a cacophony of whispers. Olumide stood his ground, his heart pounding in his chest. He could feel the weight of the spirit's gaze upon him, their hunger for his soul palpable, but he refused to give in to fear. Your fate is sealed, Olumide, Baba Ogundele intoned. The spirits will claim what is theirs. Olumide raised his sword, his voice steady and defiant. I will not be their slave. With a roar, the spirits surged towards him, their ghostly forms swirling around him like a tempest. Olumide swung his sword, slicing through the air, but his blade passed harmlessly through the spirits, their laughter echoing in his ears. Baba Ogundele watched, a cruel smile on his lips, as his son struggled against the overwhelming force of the spirits. But Olumide would not be deterred. He closed his eyes, reaching deep within himself for the strength to fight back. And then, in the midst of the storm, Olumide remembered the words of the ancestor that had visited him in his dreams. He remembered the power they had promised him, the strength that lay dormant within his bloodline. He was not just a prince. He was the son of a witch doctor, a child of the spirits themselves. With a sudden surge of energy, Olumide opened his eyes and the fog seemed to part before him. The spirits hesitated, their advance faltering as they sensed the shift in power. Olumide raised his hand, and with a single commanding gesture, he banished the spirits back into the shadows from which they had come. Baba Ogundele's eyes widened in shock and disbelief. How? Olumide stepped forward, his voice filled with authority. I am not your puppet, nor will I ever be. The spirits may have claimed me at birth, but I claim my own destiny now. The witch doctor stood frozen, his power slipping away as Olumide's strength grew. The bond between father and son had been shattered, and with it, the curse that had bound them together. Olumide kept his sword and turned his back on Baba Ogundele. As he walked away from the hut, the forest seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, the oppressive atmosphere lifting. He had broken the curse, freed himself from the spirits, and in doing so, he had discovered a power within himself that no one, not even his father, could control. Prince Olumide returned to the palace, no longer haunted by the whispers of the spirits, but stronger and wiser than before. The kingdom of Yukara had a new prince, one who had faced his demons and emerged victorious. But the tale of the witch doctor and the prince would be remembered for generations to come. A story of betrayal, power, and the indomitable will to forge one's own destiny.